Dear students, I hope you finished the in-class activity that basically gave you this tool path, and you already created set, do, gripper, and reset, do, gripper. Just quickly reminding you how you did it, right? So I think you went to the uh, controller. From there you created the configuration, and from there the controller, and then sorry, the IO system, and from there the signal, and then created this signal. And you will see I already created digital output gripper, so I'm not creating a new one, but for your case you need to create a new signal. And then once you're creating that piece, then you would need to go to simulate. From there you would need to go configure, and you will see I have created two events. One is for gripping, another is for releasing, and I'm pretty sure by now you know how to create that thing. So maybe a quick one more time, if you just go add, and then let's say you want to make something for attaching the object, then you would need to go to next, and you need to find out the output you created, and one is for gripping and zero is for releasing, and then go to next, and from there you would need to go to move mechanism to pause, and if you go to next, and then basically you would need to go to smart gripper, and position is sync, then you should finish, and that's how you can create a new event. Since I have already created, I am not going to create it again. So once you are creating the sync position, then you need to create an action, and I have already created an action. I just want to go through what I did. The difference between the previous lab to this one is here I created attach object, like to find closest object other than uh, selecting the part, because I'm going to use two smart components. One is sync, another is source. The source will basically create a copy and paste again and again. So if you just select part one, that means it will not get, let's say, part two, part three, or whatever the copy and paste you are doing. So that's why if you click find closest object, then it will find just the closest object. It will not find part one every time. So that is the one changes I needed to do. And I created similarly for signal 0 as a home position. And here the object, like the action I created was any object, for the same reason, because once you are copying and pasting a lot of object, for an example, you will see, since I ran a couple of times, so I got really a lot of part number. So I cannot fix that number, because every time when you are running the simulation, this number keeps adding. So that's why any object will work here. So these are the two changes I did from I did from last lab. Now if you just run it, then you will see what is happening here. So for an example, I ran a couple of times, that's why it is again going back to home position, and it is speaking, and you see no object is here, but once the object is going to touch the plane, then you will see another object created here, and once this object it touches, it is gone. So again, this object, this robot is coming, it is speaking, no object is there, and if you see the layout, you will see the changes. Right now I got 14. So that's how I basically created this simulation setup. Like once the robot is picking the object, and once this object touches the plane sensor 1, then it is creating a new part. And once this part is touching the plane sensor 2, it is gone. So that's how it is creating a continuous cycle. And as you see, since this is creating a continuous cycle, the whole reason is I have added the continuous run, not a single cycle. So if I go back here and I stop, and quickly maybe I can go back to the home position. So that is the thing we are going to do. I am going to go to simulation setup and I can discuss how I did that piece. So if I come here and if I go, so I should go at actually simulation logic, sorry, station logic. So this is the station logic. I know it shows little crowded, but I can make this one a vertical, and I can place them accordingly and I can discuss. So for an example, I created positioner. uh, you can leave it, you don't need to delete that one, but let's discuss about how I connected those sources. I know for the first time it can really create confusion, but believe me, when you are spending some time and seeing it carefully, then you will see it will make sense to you. So but before starting those connections, I want to discuss about the numbers I used for plane sensor 1 and plane sensor 2, so that will help you. So if you go there, then you will see the origin was 210, 600, and 780. And since I want to move along x-axis, I put some number, but you can put any number into this x box, and that's how it created this bigger plane. And once you're creating that piece, then you need to make another plane sensor, which is this one. So if you go there and the properties, that is the number, so the origin should be at 3200, 750 and 770. And again, I created this time, if I want to show you quickly. So yeah, that's how I created. You can even create it straight, but I just created as it is, and then I used axis 1 xbox 50 and zbox 50, and axis 2 I just created negative 300, and that's how you should get this plane. And as I mentioned in the class, you need to make sure the plane sensors are not sensing the conveyor or any other object. So once you are creating those two plane sensor, then you need to take a linear mover. So the linear mover, you will see I did not select the I did not select the part here because I am really taking the object signal from the plane sensor. So what I'm saying, that okay, once the object is sensed by the plane, you should start moving that object. So that's why when whatever the object this plane sensor is sensing, the linear mover will make the move. And if you want to trigger the linear mover, you need to have an execution or execute switch. So that's what we are. That's why we are connecting from sensor out to the linear mover. So that's how every time when part or the object touches the plane sensor 1, then the object is basically moving towards X direction. Now let's talk about plane sensor 2. So what we are doing here, we're saying, okay, we are using a logic SR latch, as I mentioned in the class. If you want to hold the signal, then you would need to use the logic SR latch. So if you make a set high or 1, then you're going to get output 1. And if you make a reset high, you are going to get inverse output high. So here I am making reset 1 so that I can get inverse output 1 so that I can ask the linear mover to stop at some point. So where and when I am asking the linear mover to stop, when the object is basically touching plane sensor 2. So when plane sensor 2 is basically getting object 2, then sensor out will be high, meaning the logic SR reset will be high, meaning the linear mover will stop here. So that's why I'm just making this connection. Now let's talk about the source here. So in the source, what I'm doing, what I'm doing is I am saying whatever the part you are sensing by plane sensor 1, you are basically copying that part. So your source is the sensed part by the plane sensor, and then you will see the number will update here. And position is important. I'm not changing the position here, but because if you see at the very beginning when I used the positioner for part 1, that one was like 000, and the same position I'm using here. So that's how every time you are copying and pasting the object here. And then yeah, you need to really trigger the source. That means you need some signal, some execute signal. So when you are sensing object by using plane sensor 1, that means the sensor out will be high and source will execute. That means you will get a new part here. Now let's talk about the sync. So let's talk about the sync. So what is happening here? So the similar thing when plane sensor 2 is sensing the object here, then you are using the same object to sync, like to delete. And if you want to trigger the sync, you need a signal or high signal, which is basically you are receiving from sensor out signal. So that's how when your object is kind of sensed by plane sensor 2, it is going away. So now let's run one more time and see the changes here. So if I run it again, then what is happening, it is coming here. So just see plane sensor. You will see nothing is here now, but you will see the sensed part, it got updated, and the source the source changed and linear mover changed. And one more time, let's say yeah. So I know it is running, that's why it is not helping me to zoom in, but I think you will understand. So you see, so once plane sensor 2 is getting the part here, just wait, and for the next part it is coming, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so you will see the sense part will change, and it is basically deleting that part. So I hope this discussion will help you to make the right connection and complete a full continuous cycle for pick and place. And believe me, this exercise is going to help you to complete the upcoming labs and your project. Uh, thank you.